Can you teach yourself Qigong? The answer is a clear yes. You can definitely teach yourself Qigong, although it doesn't mean that you have to do everything on your own. But if you would ask me the same question 20 years ago, I would not be so sure. Social media were at its infancy in those years. In order to learn a Qigong routine, you would have to look for a teacher to teach you in person, explain to you the principle, and show you the proper ways to perform the movements of the exercises. For that, you can be traveling miles and miles just to find a good teacher. If you don't want to travel, an alternative is to read up. Now, this is one of the books that I used to read years ago, before the YouTube era. But to learn Qigong by reading a book is really tough, because Qigong is an inner exercise. It's not like external exercises like jogging or stretching that you can watch what other people do and imitate. When you are doing Qigong, much of the activity takes place within you, which are invisible to the outsider. There is only so much that a book can help you, so you can imagine the struggle that I had to go through in the early years. The world is very different today. Go on to the social media like YouTube and whatnot. There are tons of videos showing you how to perform the exercise. Search the keywords on the internet, and there are endless articles for you to read. Of course, they cannot replace face-to-face teaching, but you can definitely get started by tapping into these resources. Especially when you are not learning complex sequences, watch the videos and you can very well begin the practice immediately. Find the sequences you like and you are on your way to make the exercise part of your daily routine. In fact, I would say that the problem today that you are facing is in the reverse of what I used to face. You are spoiled for choice. There are thousands of videos on YouTube alone, and it can be overwhelming. So now the challenge for you is, in fact, how to choose the right program for you to get started. And for that, I would like to provide you with some simple guideline so that you can choose the sequences that suit you, and then you can start your exercise as soon as possible. Now, there are thousands of Qigong exercises out there, and we have several ways to categorize them. You may have heard people talking about things like medical Qigong, martial art Qigong, and spiritual Qigong, and so on. But for the purpose of this video, I would like to focus on the classification based on the ways you perform the exercise. With this in mind, I would say that there are basically 3 types of Qigong. Number 1, motionless. Number 2, moving. Number 3, spontaneous. The motionless are Qigong that involves minimum physical movements. Among them is the standing meditation or 站桩. The moving Qigong are the most common ones. Among the popular ones are the 5 enemy exercise, 八段锦 or the 8 brocade, and Tai Chi 18, Tai Chi 18式. The spontaneous Qigong is less common. It has no fixed movements, so every session is different. You leave everything to your body and you act on its own. It's something like transing, but you are performing a Qigong exercise, so there are some rules for you to adhere to. One spontaneous Qigong exercise that I enjoy doing is the spontaneous version of the 5 animal exercise, or 五行系. Of the 3 types of Qigong, the one that I would not suggest you starting on your own is spontaneous Qigong. This type of Qigong can be effective for some of you. When the body is quiet enough, you would start moving on its own and then find where your imbalance in the body is and act on its own to bring back the balance. In Chinese, we call it 静中生动. It has been proven to be pretty effective in overcoming some medical challenges. The problem is that if you don't have a teacher around, you may not be able to get it right. Now, you can probably get started, but sometimes, on very rare occasion, you don't know how to stop. So I would suggest that you do it only when you have a teacher around physically to help you get started. What I would suggest is that you experiment with the other two types of Qigong. Everybody's response to the Qi exercise is unique. For some of you, it is very easy for you to feel the movement of Qi when you do the exercise motionless, such as standing meditation. For others, you can't get yourself even to stay motionless for a minute, so it will not work for you. If you choose the moving Qigong, there's a variety of them for you to choose from. There are the complex ones like elaborate version of the 5 elements Qigong, or the simple ones like 八段锦. They are excellent programs, but for some beginners, they may find that it's hard for them to memorize the movement because these exercises are quite structured and you have to memorize how you raise a hand, how you rest your body, and so on and so forth. So if you belong to the types of students that don't like fixed sequences, I would suggest that you begin with something simple like the arm swinging exercise. The movements are very simple and you can start doing the exercise almost without thinking. You can follow the link below to learn how you can begin arm swinging exercise immediately. Another sequence that I would like to recommend is a sequence called Regaining Youthful Vitality. It is part of an extensive set of Qigong exercises for longevity that have been kept secret for centuries. Now, this simple sequence, which is part of a larger set of exercises, takes only 3 minutes to perform, and it is pretty effective in exercising the inner system of your body, and it is very easy to get started. Now you can find the link to the instructional videos below to teach yourself the exercise. So let's get started. Choose a Qigong sequence that you like and begin teaching yourself. You don't have to wait for a teacher to be around to help you get started. If you want to learn more about Qigong, do subscribe to my channel or sign up my newsletter. Thank you very much for watching. See you again soon.